Walmart has a new 11-inch Surf ONN Tablet Pro. I'm glad that this exists because the 10.4-inch tablet is awful. It's running on 3 gigabytes of RAM, and that's really not that much these days. Not to mention, performance was subpar on this, so I'm hoping this will be quite a bit better. It only has 1 more gig of RAM, but that's usually a little bit, that's pretty sufficient, I'd say. Of course, we'll have to see how gameplay is among everything else. Battery life is pretty good on here from what I've seen online. And it does have double the amount of storage space, 128 gigs versus 64 there. And then it is an 11-inch touchscreen, so that's... I don't recall them making one, except for that one tablet with a keyboard that they made not too long ago. And that was, like, mediocre at best, I want to say. Inside the box here, you're going to get the tablet itself, which looks and feels really nice. This one is in gold that I got. Put that to the side for a second. There's a couple of quick start guides. And then there's a trial for Walmart Plus, which I'm never gonna do. There is a pin down here to get to the microSD card tray, and then this wall outlet along with a USB-C to USB-C cable, because this does use USB-C on top. This seems to have fast charging capabilities. That's interesting, because it is USB-C to USB-C. This is what the tablet looks like. 11 inches is definitely nice, and the bezels are relatively thin, so it's not going to feel like it's super heavy to hold on to. On top, you've got the volume keys, power button, and on the side here, it looks like there's either a reset button or a microphone here on the side. And then over here was the microSD card tray that I took out. That's what it looks like. There's nothing else like a nano SIM or anything like that. On the side, you've got a 3.5mm headphone jack, the speaker grill, and there is another speaker grill on the other side, so I think it's going to emit from both sides, which will make it more immersive. That's pretty nice. As well as a USB-C port, and nothing else on the other side. There's a front camera, and on the back there is the rear camera that's protruding. That's how it usually is. And then this does have a nice kind of like premium feel and look. That's going to be nice if you're ever giving this as a gift, assuming that this is good enough. I normally don't care about looks, but I came to realize that back then, when you gave those cheap plastic tablets made by RCA or something, people probably knew that it was a cheap device. But this one, they're probably not going to guess that this was some kind of cheap device, being like slim and feeling very premium. Of course, we'll see how performance is here. For an 11-inch screen, being 1920 by 1200 or 2000 by 1200, the screen doesn't really feel pixelated. It's actually quite nice. Of course, the more the merrier, but this is totally fine. And you don't want it to be too high because the processor probably won't be able to handle it. Out of the box, there's 110 gigabytes free. That's a lot, and then there is the microSD card slot if you want more. And by the way, I know for some reason on camera, the screen looks worse than it really is. In real life, it does look better. So anyways, this is what comes out of the box. It's pretty much near stock Android with the exception of the Walmart app. I can't try to uninstall it. Let me see here, actually. Uninstall this app, and I hope it doesn't download itself again. Okay, we got the Walmart app uninstalled. That's great. One thing you still cannot remove is this darn widget up here. This Google widget for the search bar. I don't mind it, but for some people, they don't want it up there. Unfortunately, you can't do anything, so you're stuck with that. And the Google Hub is on the side here as I was going through it. It's not bad. I kind of like this. The camera is whatever, honestly. I mean, it's enough to take pictures. It's just mediocre at best. I think the AI is going to help improve it. Actually, it's a little better than expected. Too grainy. When you zoom in, it does look a little bit more grainy, but yeah, this is really, well, definitely better than expected, I'll say that much. The colors aren't popping out or anything along those lines, but it's still pretty decent, and this is enough to make a Skype call or something along those lines. It's not too slow from what I can tell here. And then the color reproduction seems to be decent. It's not too saturated. It's not that dull either compared to some other ones that I've seen. So that's nice. Unfortunately, there is no flash on here. So that's the only limiting factor. 3 gigabytes of RAM was, I'm just disappointed. So it emits from both sides, which is nice, but it can easily be covered with your hands. If you have it facing downwards, you can easily cover these, and the sound is easily going to get blocked. So you have to have it facing upwards. And that's probably the best way to do it. And watching videos is totally fine on here. I got to 1440p, and this does have Widevine level L3, unfortunately, despite it being Android 13. So that is another limiting factor. We still haven't gotten all these Android tablets to support widevine level L1. Widevine level L1 basically means that you can watch videos anywhere at full HD 1080p, including Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, etc. But for now, you're only going to be able to watch videos at 1080p on YouTube. You won't have any issues doing basic tasks like web browsing on here. Even multitasking does a pretty decent job. I wouldn't go too far on it just because it's only 4 gigs of RAM. So yeah, but you will notice some hiccups here and there. It's not as bad as from what I saw on the other tablet, the 10.4 inch. That was just really laggy. I mean, 3 gigabytes of RAM is not enough these days. 4 is just barely enough, I want to say. What I find a little bit interesting here is on the Geekbench scores, the single-core, multi-core score are higher than the Umidigi A13 that has 8 gigabytes of RAM, so double the amount of RAM. But I guess the CPU is not as good as this one on here. And the GPU score was more than twice as good. That one was like 500 something, and this is 1200. Huge difference. Now, that one had an ARM Mali G57. This is a G57 MC2. We'll have to see how gameplay is in a moment. The CPU is an MT878 1V/NA. Here's the rest of the stuff. I'm not really going to go over everything, but battery life is going to be pretty solid on here, just from what I've seen. Again, not my own testing, but from others that I've seen here. And for some reason, Walmart doesn't allow you to see the battery usage. Even though they have a pretty good battery here, they have nothing to hide, really. So I'm not sure why that's not there, and this is kind of weird, so I can't really rely on this. First game here is Roblox. I really haven't noticed too many issues with stuttering or anything else. Maybe there are some frame rate drops here, but it's playable. Next game here is Honkai Star Rail, and this seems to work just fine. There are some like stutters and slowdowns, especially when you're attacking. I've noticed it, but it's still playable nonetheless. Even at high graphics settings, it's still playable. I don't think your gameplay is going to be affected because this is RPG. It's not really fast-paced or anything. Finally, we got Need for Speed No Limits here. It's playable. I'm just thinking that this might be optimized for low-end devices, which is a good thing. Actually does seem kind of smooth at times. Sometimes you're better than others. But nonetheless, this tablet can handle some form of gaming. I wish it had more RAM, because 4 gigs doesn't seem like it's that much these days. But if you do want a tablet with more RAM, check out the Umidigi A13 tablet. I tested this out not too long ago. I've got a video on it. It only costs about like $20, $30 more on Amazon, so I'll link that down below, and I'll probably have an annotation or card somewhere to check this out. Also, I've got the Fire Max 11 tablet sitting here next to me, which I'm looking forward to checking out, because this is pretty much the competitor to the Walmart's ONN tablet, so be sure to subscribe for that, and leave a like if you found this video helpful, and subscribe for more. As always, thanks for watching. Infivo has recently come out with a new large 27-inch gaming monitor that has a slim design and bezels, giving it a nice, sleek look. With a 1440p resolution, it's great to watch videos on. Along with media consumption, it's great for gaming, which has many things you would be looking for, from being able to play games at a high FPS rates, a fast response time, along with FreeSync to enjoy your games smoothly without interruptions. On the surface, the Infivo 27-inch gaming monitor seems like the perfect package to enjoy your games and movies smoothly.